So guys, welcome to another video, and this video is about the lens, a new lens from my Fuji X mount, Fujifilm XS10. So I have been using this lens from quite a long time, almost 8 months or 9 months, and I was looking to record this video, but I was not getting enough time to record the video and enough material to analyze the lens. So in this video, I'll be showing you some of the images and videos and quick performance check of the lens, and I'll not be doing any pixel peeping and all the technical stuff regarding all the f-stop and aperture stuff, and I'll be just posting some of the videos and images in which every amateur photographer or enthusiast photographer clicks during their travel. So let's just start with the lens. This lens is from Sigma. So this is the box, and the lens is Sigma 18-50mm F2.8. Filter size is 55mm, and this is for Fujifilm X mount. Now this is the box, and with the box, what you get is some of the documentation. And a packing material, and in this packing material what you get is this lens, having a mount cap, your front cap, and quite sturdy lens hood. So this lens is quite small and handy, compact, and the weight is not so heavy. And if you want to compare to the typical, if you want to compare this lens with the typical kit lens of the Fujifilm, this is the typical kit lens. This is the standard lens which came along with the camera, which is this is XC15-45 f3.5 to 5.6. optically image stabilized lens. So you can see the size difference between these both. Now, as per the specification, this is 18mm to 50mm focal length with a fixed aperture of 2.8 mm. Filter size is 55. This is made in Japan. This is a metal mount, and there is a small rubber gasket which serves the purpose of waterproofing or splash proofing. Now the only thing which I don't like in this lens is this is not optically stabilized lens. So you have to rely on your main camera body for image stabilization if you want to record videos. And I have been recording videos with this lens, and inbuilt body image stabilization of XS10 is quite good actually. So if you are planning to buy this lens, make sure your main camera body has image stabilization. Otherwise, you can go for Fujifilm lens 18-55 mm, which is aperture size is from f2.8 to 4, or with the big lens, then you can go for Tamron 17-70, which is optically stabilized as well with constant aperture of f2.8. Now why I choose this lens is because of this compactness and size, and of course the looks as well. And the main thing was, of course, my main camera body XS10 has already in body image stabilization, and I want to carry light. So let me just attach it to my camera, as then you can see how this lens looks. Now this is the camera and lens. So you can see it complements the XS10 body. And if any of you people have XS20 also, so this lens is quite good and it's quite sharp, and I think it will complement the Fujifilm new sensors as well, which is 40 megapixel, which are in XT5 and XH2 as well. Now the second biggest issue I have this lens is the direction of zoom ring. Majority of the Fujifilm lenses have the zoom ring which rotates in this direction, in this direction, which is clockwise, but in this it's counterclockwise, as you can see. So it's all about your muscle memory. So like if you are already viewing the scene through your EVF and you want to zoom, so because of your muscle memory you want to rotate to clockwise, but here it should be counterclockwise. So this is the second issue. So this is the second issue which I faced in this lens. And yeah, one more thing is the zoom ring is in the front and focus ring is in the back. If you see the Fujifilm lens, this is the focus ring and this is the zoom ring, but here it is reverse. So this is the only difference, and which can create issues with your muscle memory actually. So let's just see some of the images I shoot with it, and in this video I'll be testing autofocus performance, video performance, image stabilization, low light performance, and quality of the bokeh in portrait modes, and of course the portrait shoots. This camera is quite good for the portrait shoots. It's like having a prime lens with the multifocal lens. So for portrait shoots I generally use 50 and 35. So I'll be posting images for the portrait shoot in 35 and 50 mm. So this is the handheld video recording with image stabilization, any kind of image stabilization disabled. So I'm walking right now with a normal pace. There is no gimbal, nothing, and the audio is recorded through internal microphone of the camera. So now in the next video I'll switch on the image stabilization. So this is the recording with IBS, internal image stabilization. So this is the recording with internal image stabilization plus electronic image stabilization. There is no optical image stabilization as the lens does not support. So this is the same, internal microphone recording and handheld camera. No gimbal is used. So you can see the difference between the stabilizations of the camera with this lens, Sigma lens. So guys, I will show you some of the sample images which I have taken during my vacation time. So let's just start with this image. So on a whole, this image looks quite sharp. So the setting for this image is focal length was used is 18mm and f10, aperture is 10, and the shutter. So the settings used for this images was. So the settings used for this image was 18mm and then f10 aperture and then 200 second your shutter speed. ISO was automatic. I generally use auto ISO. So like now if we zoom to this image, you can see the trees and all the buildings are quite sharp. So what we are doing here is just pixel peeping, and if you just see the image as a whole, this looks quite good actually. Now let's see this second image, and the weather was overcast at that time, and the settings was 18mm f10. Shutter speed is 1/500. So here you can also see these stones and all distant trees are quite resolved actually. And I'll show you this same image in the evening time when there is no sun, no very low light. So you can see the far off objects are quite blur because I was focusing on this area mostly. And the shutter speed is 1/10th, ISO 3200, and this is of course a handheld shot. So here also, I mean, of course the ISO is quite high, so you can see a bit of noise here with this lens. And you can see, I mean, these trees, the details are not so resolved because of the aperture. Now if I use aperture f10, then of course the camera will use a slower shutter speed, so I need a tripod to capture this image. Now coming to the color rendition of this lens, this is the image of flowers which I've clicked in my garden actually. So the setting used is 50mm f3.2, 1/1600 second. So here you can see, I mean, the flowers and the leaves are quite sharp actually, even with aperture 3.2, and you can see the details are quite resolved here, and the colors are from this lens are quite good. I mean, it cannot be compared to the Fujifilm lenses, the Fujifilm lens look, but still I like the color of this. I like the color output of this lens. Same in this image also. So this image has been shot with f2.8 with aperture wide open. This is the maximum aperture of this lens. So here with the maximum aperture you can see some of the distortion on the edges. But if you pixel peep, you will find the images are not quite sharp at f2.8, and this is at 50mm. So but as a whole, this image, the color looks very good. Now this is another image with the maximum aperture of f2.8, ISO 320, and shutter speed is 1/2500. So I was focusing on this area, and you can see for an aperture 2.8, a zoom lens, the image is, this area is quite sharp actually. This image is quite sharp, but if you zoom in, pixel peep, then you can see some of the color distortion here on the edges of the white flower. Now another thing I want to show you about this lens is the macro style shooting. I mean, as per the Sigma website, the minimum focus distance of this lens is 12.1 centimeters, which is of course like close to 12 centimeters. So like this is the basic image, and I want to focus on this flower here. So the settings for this image is 18mm f2.8, and in this image I am focusing on that flower only, and you can see how close you can focus, how close this lens can focus. And this is with 18mm f2.8 settings, same settings, and you can see the image is quite sharp and clear. Now again in this image you can see the setting is 50mm f2.8. so this is the image of the flower, this is the basic image. Now I will focus on the flower with my closest focus range. So now I'm focusing only on the flower, so the settings are same, 50mm f2.8. so you can see in 50mm range also you can focus this much close. So I will show you more close-up images. Now this is the image of the leaf, and this is at 50mm f2.8, and I'm focusing closely on the leaf, so you can see the details of the leaf as well. It's very clear and the image is quite resolved. Now same here, this is also the image with 50mm f2.8. You can see the insect is quite clear and resolved. Now these are some more images, close-up shots. Just keep in mind, I'm not using any macro extension tubes here. So these are just Sigma lens images with no macro extension. This is the minimum. These images are showing the minimum focus distance of this lens. Now coming to the subject separation, due to its big aperture size, you can clearly distinguish the subject from the background and foreground. So this is the example of that. So in the foreground you can see some leaves, and in the background also you can see some leaves. So this is the main subject. As you can see, it is quite distinguished from all the other objects like foreground and background. Same here in this image also. This is at 50 f2.8. Here you can see some color distortion on the edges due to the bright light. So this is one more image to show you the subject separation of the camera lens, of the Sigma lens. This is at 50mm f2.8. This is another example of subject separation at 50mm 2.8. Now coming to the portrait shoots, I was not having any expensive models with me, so I was not able to shoot any human faces. So I'll be using my Garfield soft toy. So the setting for this image is 35mm f2.8. So I'm using 35mm in APS-C. So you can see the sharpness is quite there. I mean, the image is quite sharp. The subject is quite sharp, and the background is totally blurred, and here also the foreground is also blurred. Now the same subject with 50mm f2.8. This is the 50mm focal length. So you can see the subject is quite sharp and clear, and the image is quite resolved. As you can see, these threads and all that, these lints on the Garfield soft toy. And of course this is with the very low light indoor situation. I'm not using any flashlights and all that. So this is just with the indoor natural light. Now coming to the quality of the bokeh generated by this lens. So in this image you can see the bokeh balls are quite uniform, and the shape is quite round actually. So the settings for this image is 50mm f2.8. This is another image showing the bokeh, quality of the bokeh of this lens. So that's it for the sample images of this camera lens, and in the next section I'll be showing the focus tracking of the subject, which can be helpful in the videography as well as tracking birds and animals, and even children's as well. So let's jump to the another section. Now here in this video I'm gonna show you the subject tracking of this camera and lens combination. So most of the time this camera focus tracking depends upon the lens performance as well. As you can see, I'm using this subject and I'm moving this subject close to the lens and then far from the lens. So you can see the lens is and the camera is able to track the subject quite efficiently, of course with some focus breathing, occasional focus breathing. So now I'll move the subject sideways with slow speed. Now this is with the fast speed. I'm moving the subject fast, so still the camera is able to track. Now I'll be using another subject, so we can see the once another subject is introduced in the scene, the focus changes to the other subject quite easily. So that's it for the subject tracking, and I think I have covered almost all the main points, and if I've missed some of the points, kindly kindly mention in the comment section so that I'll be able to cover in my next videos for new lenses and cameras. So if you like this video, kindly subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon, and kindly add your comments in the comment section as well for any feedback and all that. So that will inspire me to record more videos like this, and of course I'll be recording some more lenses, new lenses as well for Fujifilm as well as Olympus cameras. So I'll be leaving this video with some of the video shots, video recordings I've recorded using this lens and camera. So please enjoy, and thank you for watching this video.